So we're going to be applying basic integration formulas, basically reinforcing what we just did. Spend significance net change. So that's basically talking about when you have above and below, you have to take out the negative part, subtract the negative from home, and then use the net change theorem to solve and apply problems. So here's our first one to look at. This one really not net change, it's just the practice of what we just learned. So when you have a problem like this, my recommendation is try to distribute everything you can and then take it little piece at a time. So you have the integral of 1 to 4, and I'll call it t to the 1/2 times 1 plus t. And it's okay if you don't want to do it that way, if you want to leave it with the square root. I mean, my mind works a certain way, yours might work someplace a different way. For me, it's easier to see everything in terms of powers. I can add 1 to the power and divide by the power. So I like to do it that way. We have, so that's integral from 1 to 4 of t to the 1/2, that's t to the 1/2 times 1, plus t to the 1/2 times t is t to the 3/2 dt. So again, my way of doing it is to put it in terms of having numerical powers instead of having radicals. Some people may be perfectly fine with the radicals. I don't want to push off any kind of habits. I don't think it's a bad habit. I think it's a habit though on anyone. Okay, so if we integrate this, it's t to the 1/2, we're going to add 1 to the power. What's 1/2 plus 1? 3/2. T to the 3/2 divided by 3/2 plus t to the, what's 3/2 plus 1? What's that?
4/2.
5/2. So 3/2 plus 1 is 3/2. It's 2/2. This is 5/2. So t to the 5/2 over 5/2 from 1 to 4. If you don't mind, I like one more step. And again, this might be a waste of time for everyone else. I'm going to clean up those fractions a little bit. 2/3 times t to the 3/2 plus 2/5 times t to the 5/2. 1 to 4. Yeah, that's a personal preference. Do things in a few more steps. So now I'll apply my limits of integration. That's 2/3 times 4 to the 3/2 plus 2/5 times 4 to the 5/2 minus 2/3, I'll do parentheses here, times 1 to the 3/2 plus 2/5 times 1 to the 5/2. Okay, so what is 4 to the 3/2? Anyone?
2?
So square root of 4 is 2, but then 2 cubed.
8.
8, yeah. So 2/3 times 8. And then here's a tougher one, 4 to the 5/2.
32.
32, good. So 2/5 times 32, then minus 1 to the 3/2 is, good, and 1 to the 5/2 is, so 2/3 plus 2/5. Okay, so now it's just a matter of, not even algebra, it's just combining numbers. It's like 16/3 plus 64/5 minus 2/3 plus 2/5. Does it clean it up at all? If we should be minus 2/5. 16/3 minus 2/3 just gives us 14/3. Doesn't do a lot for us. 64/5 minus 2/5 gives us 62/5. Still doesn't do a lot for us, so I guess it's multiplying by 5 over 5, by 3 over 3. Isn't that 70/15ths? Yeah, thank you. And then 3 times 62 is like 186. Is that right? And so what's 70 plus 186? 256 over 15.
Yep, 256.
Good. Questions before we go on? So I like to use the TI-84 in this class. I really like using the TI-89. It'll do a lot of calculus for you, which I don't think is as unique as it used to be. It used to be that was the only way, and there are some, I won't say what, there's some online tools people often use for doing these. And I'm gonna say, if you use them, that's fine, just make sure you know how to do it without them, because that's important. So that you understand what's going on. Find the definite integral again now for integral from 1 to 3. So 1 to 3 of x squared minus 3x dx. So what's that gonna look like? So integral 1 to 3 of x squared minus 3x dx. What do you have, Ivan? What's the antiderivative of x squared? Add 1 to the power. X cubed over 3. So it's x cubed over the new power. Then minus, what's next going to be? 3. That's an x to the 1. Oh. 3x to 1. So 1, we're going to add 1 to the power. 2. We divide by that power, 2. We're going to evaluate it from 1 to 3. Are we all at the same point with x cubed over 3 minus 3x squared over 2? Okay. Now we're going to plug in the limits of integration. So it's 3 cubed over 3 minus 3 times 3 squared over 2 minus the quantity 1 cubed over 3 minus 3 times 1 squared over 2. We know what 3 cubed is.
27.
Good, 27 thirds minus, what's 3 times 3 squared?
27.
That's 27 halves. Minus, and then I have 1 cubed is what?
1.
So it's 1/3. Then a minus a negative makes a plus. 3 times 1 squared is 3 over 2. I don't think it does much for us. This gives us 26 over 3 minus, is it 24 over 2? And I guess we're going to have to go to the 6th. We could reduce the 24 over 2 to be 12. We got 26 over 3 equals, or minus 12. Multiply that by 3 over 3. So it's 26 over 3 minus 36 over 3 to give us negative 10 over 3.